Welcome back to the Crafts for Painting channel. Here we have the Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra 12K. This is the one that came out last year with a lot of what I would say is very positive opinions, but I wanted to see for myself if this machine lives up to the hype. I purchased it with my own money, and this is not a sponsored video. Elegoo has not sent me this product, and because of that, I want to give you a 100% unbiased opinion based on the machine and what I've used it for in the last few weeks, and what I thought of this iteration of the Saturn line, right? So this is, as you know, the fourth Saturn that's come out. The Saturn 4 and the Saturn 4 Ultra came out together. Saturn 4 and Saturn 4 Ultra had some minor differences between them. This is the one that is a little bit of the higher end version. It has the tilting vat mechanism. It has the Wi-Fi attachment. So it has some more quality of life benefits, but the main thing is that tilting vat. Honestly, it's kind of a revolutionary thing. I know other companies have done this. I know Formlabs, I believe, has a tilting vat type system that they've used in the past. But to have this come to the consumer market in a $399 machine is, I mean, I'm blown away. It's faster than my standard other printers. It quickly produces products in usually about 30% less time. It, as far as I can tell, has no downside, but aside from that, it works phenomenal. I am pleasantly surprised at how well it works, and honestly, there's been no issues with the machine at all in that regard. I also like that they went to this hinge tilting cover. This to me is fantastic. I absolutely hated having to have this extra cover that you then had to move and place in some other location and walk around and figure out what to do with. Some things to keep in mind: you are going to need more room on the top and back of the unit in order to accommodate the rotation. But aside from that, I think it's a valid improvement and a significant quality of life benefit compared to the traditional machines that I've seen that have the removable or lift-off covers. This machine also boasts that automatic leveling component. Honestly, it's not really automatic leveling. If you're printing on supports, I don't think you'll have any issues, but if you're printing close to the build plate, that could be something to be cautious with. It also has an AI camera. It's here in the back. Can it run a time lapse? Sure. If you want to see the back of your print in the darkest possible light and settings, and yes, it can do that. Elegoo says it does a lot of AI features. I personally have not seen them working or do anything for me, but they may exist. It is a 12K printer. It has microns of 19 by 24. The new build plate has a new latch system that I think is fantastic. So I have used the previous printers from Elegoo that have the system where you have to level the plate, attach your bolts, tighten down all your screws, and then you have to put the plate on and rotate a knob on top that puts pressure on that plate and keeps it in place. This system is way easier to use. The latch just lifts right off. You remove the build plate, no problem. The only thing I'm really hesitant on is that the build plate has no grips on the side, and it's a very smooth machined aluminum or machined steel type product. So you're gonna find that it's gonna be very slippery, and that is a concern I have with this machine. What I'm gonna do for now is I'm gonna add some, I think they call it skateboard tape or grip tape or something similar, and that way I'm gonna just put a little piece on either side to give me a little bit of a grip area so I can hold on to that build plate and not let it get away from me, because that is a concern. I would hate to see this build plate slip out of my hands and land in the vat and absolutely demolish this LCD screen. The vat is dual spouted, so it has two areas where you can pour resin out of, which is great for left-handed, right-handed use cases. The spouts are okay. I don't think any spouts on any of these vats are ever good. They're serviceable, they're usable. So because of that, just be careful when you're pouring. The spouts are there, they're still not great. Aside from that, the vat is not heated. The vat is a standard vat, no heating element. For me, in Florida, that is not a problem. It is usually hot enough for any of my printing concerns to be put to rest. But if you're in a colder climate, that is something to consider. The other alternative is to not purchase this one and purchase the 16K Ultra, which is just released a few months ago. That one does have a heated vat system built in. So that would be your solution if you're looking for a colder climates. Now, because of that tilting vat mechanism that we described earlier, you do have a gap between the internals of the machine and the edge of the build plate. Elegoo does include, for that tilting vat mechanism, a attachment tray that can be put on the front of the machine on the vat, so that when you remove the build plate, any resin that is dripping does not land in between that tilting vat mechanism and the internals of the machine. I think this is a fine solution. It works for what we need. It is a very flimsy plastic, and I do worry about the longevity of this tray lasting, but it's fine. It's serviceable. My one complaint is this embossed lettering here on the front. That to me is not the smartest location for that logo or for that branding, because if resin does fall in that tray, I'm going to want to clean it out, and that embossed lettering makes it difficult to access. So this build plate is a 218 by 122 build plate. The Z-axis is 220 millimeters. So you have a fairly good amount of size to work with. It does connect through a Wi-Fi connection point. It is an external antenna, unfortunately, that gets attached here, but it also has your standard USB component, so you can just attach that USB there and print right off the USB. One of the main things that this printer had that I think was fantastic and fairly new to the industry as well, as far as this price point, is the ability to detect whether there is resin in the vat, the ability to detect if there's too much resin in the vat, and the ability to detect if you are running out of resin and will not have enough to do the next layer. So the pressure sensor in the arm will detect that, and it will warn you on the screen when there is not enough resin or too much resin, which is, in both scenarios, a fantastic thing for quality of life. As a possibly new printer, maybe if you are a new person to the industry, a new person taking up the 3D printing mantle, you, I think, would appreciate those benefits, because I don't know about anyone in the audience. Me, I have definitely overfilled vats. I've definitely left them partially empty and then ran out of resin mid-print. And I have definitely, absolutely definitely forgotten to screw down the vat and had it lift off with my build plate and my model and everything else and get resin everywhere. So this printer is fantastic. I have been using it for about a week and a half. I've printed a lot of models, and honestly, so far everything I've printed has been spot on. I mean, it's been fantastic quality, smooth. The anti-aliasing works fine. This is a solid contender for a printer that does everything, for the most part, right. And at $399, that's tough to beat. That's a very good amount of printer you're getting with a very unique mechanism with a tilting vat for a price that's honestly not that bad. I remember just 4 or 5 years ago buying printers at half this size for $500. So being at $399 with all those features is very good value for the money. Some of the bad things, because no printer is perfect, right? It's impossible. There's always going to be something we can improve. That's just an iterative process. So the build plate not having those attachment points on the side and being a little bit slippery and smooth, I think is a missed opportunity. There should have been something there. The build plate has that inconvenient cleaning problem. So the build plate has these 2 levels that work together with the spring mechanism, but that puts the plates very close to each other. And any resin that's stuck inside that plate area is very difficult to access. It's a pain to clean, and I want you to be aware of that. You might run into some issues with that part of it. The screen itself, I think the screen is great. It's a nice screen. I wish it was horizontal. This vertical orientation to me is a missed opportunity. I'm not sure why they went with vertical. It's very hard to read some of the text on the screen. Now, the other thing I don't like about the machine is that there is no handle. You can see there's nothing to grab. So if you're going to be lifting this lid up, you're gonna have to grab it with both hands on either side and lift it up. And I think that is also a really strange design decision. There are many times when my hands have resin on them because I just took a part out of the wash or out of the alcohol vat and I cleaned it off and I put it to dry, and now I wanna maybe put the lid down, and I think that's a missed opportunity. I'd much rather have a handle that I can just kind of hit with the elbow, lift it right up, don't have to touch anything. That would be preferable in my opinion. I think for the money, for $399, you're getting a fantastic piece of equipment. I'm gonna keep this in the shop. I'm gonna probably keep printing off of it, and honestly, I think it is well worth your money. Now, I will say I purchased this machine with my own money. I did not get a sponsorship from Elegoo. They did not send me this printer. So my opinions are 100% my own, and I would recommend this machine. If you need a print farm solution, this is fantastic. If you need something for just at-home hobbying, this works. A little bit large perhaps for your space, but it works fantastic for that. The only use case I would say no, I would not recommend this machine, is if A, you need to print on the bed itself, because you're printing jewelry pieces, you're printing flat objects. I'm not sure what you would be printing that would require a completely flat print. But if you're printing flat on the build plate, I think this may not be the best printer for that because of that slight dimensional inaccuracy you're gonna find from prints being squished when this leveling system goes against the screen. So buyer beware on that regard if you're printing directly on the build plate. Aside from that, I don't think you'd have any issues with it. The other issue you may find just in general with this machine is that the AI camera is not great. So if you need something you can remotely monitor really well, this AI camera is not fantastic for it. But aside from that, honestly, I have been impressed. I would highly recommend it. And I would say, if you're asking my opinion, yes, purchase a printer. It is a fantastic printer. If you need a heated vat, I would wait for the 16K to be maybe more affordable for you, or if you want to stretch for that extra $100, the 16K may be the better choice. With that said, thank you for checking out the channel. Thank you for watching my review. I hope it was beneficial for you. I hope you got something out of it. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Those things help immensely. It is the algorithm of YouTube that must be challenged, and that is the only way to do it. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'm gonna put out more videos. I have some upcoming videos for my Etsy shop, how I run the Etsy shop, what I produce, how much revenue it makes. We're gonna cover all of that in the next couple of months.